Brock Purdy showed maturity beyond his years against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. The Cowboys' defense was phenomenal. It blanketed the 49ers wide receivers and swarmed to its running game early so that Kyle Shanahan couldn't put the defense in reactive positions. He couldn't get as creative as he normally gets. The defense was proactive throughout the game, setting the tone for the offense and forcing them to react at all times. Purdy took a sack on his first dropback of the game. On the broadcast angle, it looks like Purdy is panicked and runs himself into the pressure unnecessarily. But it's actually a really strong play from the rookie quarterback. It's weird to praise him for a negative play, but let me explain. Brandon Ayuk is running a slant at the top of the screen. He's the only receiver running a route. On the left side, the 49ers are going to send 4 blockers out in front of Deebo Samuel, who is lined up at running back for a screen initially. Purdy's eyes open to the right side. He's doing 2 things at once here. He's looking for the quick throw to Ayuk, and he's not tipping off the screen throw to the linebackers on the second level. While Purdy's eyes hold the backside linebacker highlighted in blue, the other linebackers are reading their keys and reacting to the screen on the opposite side of the field. This is good defense. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. It stops them from being manipulated by the quarterback, and it's a sign of the level of execution that the defense as a whole will play with throughout the rest of the game. But the linebackers won't be a factor on this occasion. The most important defender on this play is actually defensive end Micah Parsons. Parsons shows the same discipline that the linebackers do. Shanahan wanted the defensive line to rush the passer and get upfield, but Parsons is playing to the game plan and filling the passing lane to the screen in the flat. Purdy's not looking as this happens. So when the quarterback turns around, he's surprised by Parsons' presence. He loads up to throw the ball, but pulls it back mid-motion, recognizing that the ball will be intercepted if he throws it. The endzone angle shows that this assures Purdy will be sacked, but a 6-yard loss on a sack is definitely the better option over a 6-point loss on an interception going the other way. Mature quarterbacks understand that sometimes there is no good play, but there's always a bad play and there's always a worse play. Purdy avoided the worst play on this occasion. This 3rd and 3 play from later in the game gives us a good idea of how the Cowboys' defense performed throughout and what choices Purdy was faced with when he dropped back in the pocket. With 5 receivers spread across the formation, the 49ers are going to run a mesh concept over the middle of the field with a backside corner route for George Kittle and a checkdown route in the right flat beneath the tight end. The Cowboys are playing cover 1, but the way they execute it suggests they anticipated the play call from the 49ers. First, let's look at Trayvon Diggs at the top of the screen, working against Brandon Ayuk. Although there is a safety in the middle of the field, Diggs overplays the inside to try and force Ayuk downfield. He wants him to go outside. They're trying to take away the middle of the field from Purdy. That's where he excels. Once he shuts down the inside route, Diggs can transition smoothly to stick underneath Ayuk when he runs downfield outside. Purdy had already been pressured in the pocket by this point either way, but Diggs is always there to play the ball if it's throwing in his direction. Secondly, in the middle of the field we can see the linebacker and slot cornerback pass off their assignments almost perfectly so that neither player is trailing the shallow drag route they are assigned to cover. Again, this takes away the middle of the field and short open routes for Purdy to hit that would counter the blitz closing on him in the pocket. Finally, on the back end of the play, George Kittle has a safety over the top to the inside of his route and a defender trailing him underneath with outside leverage. This is an impossible window for Purdy to throw into. He's double teamed essentially. We can see Purdy cycle through his progression quickly, then escape from the pocket as the passer closes around him. He's ultimately forced to throw the ball away in the direction of Deebo Samuel to avoid risking an interception. Maybe he could have hit Samuel here, but it would have been a very difficult throw. Before we move on to plays that Purdy did make, here's one final example of him avoiding a bad play. When you're not making plays or getting easy offense, it's easy for the quarterback to become anxious and force throws into tight windows or windows that don't exist. On this play, the 49ers are seeking out a shot play with a hard play fake and extra blockers in protection. Only 2 receivers are running routes downfield and they're crossing each other for a slow developing deep route combination. Purdy has to hold the ball and wait. Once he hits the top of his drop, he turns around to see 2 receivers working against 3 defenders deep downfield. He could theoretically throw the ball at this moment, but he wants to make sure that Diggs doesn't stop and turn around late to take Samuel's crossing route away from him. That's one way the cornerback gets interceptions. He needs to give the play a beat longer to develop to make sure his receiver is safe and open. Diggs continues upfield and Samuel is open, but it's a more dangerous throw than you'd anticipate in this scenario. That is because of how quickly Leighton Vander Esch is dropping underneath the route on the outside. Purdy can hit this window, but he has to clear Vander Esch underneath and he has to make sure not to overthrow his receiver so that the ball drifts back towards Diggs and he comes into the play again. Windows in the NFL close very quickly, so even if it flashes open, it's not necessarily wide open. When you're playing a tight, low-scoring game with 2 great defenses involved, you don't make an aggressive throw deep in your own territory unless you're 100% confident in it. Purdy wasn't 100% confident in what he saw here, and he was able to scramble for a short gain to keep the offense in positive gains and avoid a big play in the opposite direction. So while Purdy didn't put up huge numbers, every bit of production he came away with in this game he had to earn with high-quality quarterback play. The 49ers condensed the field horizontally here by bringing their outside receivers inside the numbers. The Cowboys are playing cover 1 again, but with the condensed formation, their cornerbacks are forced into off-man positions with outside leverage from the start. This will be a critical detail for Kittle. Kittle is the tight end at the bottom of the screen. He's going to run directly into the space occupied by the deep safety, so Purdy's first job when the ball is snapped is to move that safety away from that position. Purdy trains his eyes on the safety to lead him away from Kittle as the receivers towards the top of the screen both break towards the sideline to encourage the safety as well. When we switch to the end zone angle, we can see Purdy looking the safety off, then immediately snapping back to the right seam to throw to Kittle. He knew that Kittle was working against outside leverage, so if he holds the safety there is a window to hit. If he doesn't hold the safety, he might get sandwiched. Of course, it's not just holding the safety, it's doing that and then delivering an accurate ball on time that allows Kittle to make a clean, uncontested catch for a good gain. He created this opening in the defense and it resulted in a 17-yard gain. On that play, Kelce was lined up on the narrow side of the field. The 49ers isolate him on the narrow side of the field again this time. When the ball is on the right hash mark, the narrow side is the right side. When the defense plays cover 1 in this situation, the deep safety will cheat to the wide side of the field because there are 4 potential receivers there and he has to cover more space. Purdy checks the safety at the snap, but only for a millisecond. The play design means he's too far away from Kittle to be a factor unless he sprints in his direction immediately at the snap. This is a relatively easy throw and read, but from the end zone angle we can see the pressure in the pocket is coming quickly in Purdy's face. He has to release the ball quickly and he can't fully step into the throw. He's still able to connect with Kittle, but can't lead him downfield in the way he would have liked to. But still the 49ers are moving into scoring position once again. Kittle is going to block on this play. He's one of the best run blocking tight ends in the NFL, so he's a key piece of the 49ers running play designs and even more so their play action designs. By keeping Kittle into block, Kittle is the interior tight end on the left side of the offense. Purdy is going to bootleg in his direction, but the other tight end is the one who's going to leak into the flat. He only has 2 wide receivers working downfield, a corner route and a crossing route. The tight end is going to leak out a little bit late because he's going to block initially to sell the play fake. The Cowboys defense is playing quarters coverage, which is going to make for an interesting way in which this play develops. As Purdy executes his play fake in the backfield, 3 of the 4 defenders in deep coverage are drawn to Brandon Ayuk on his crossing route. They all see the play action and bet on this play being a half-field read. They're right. The other receiver running downfield is covered by the cornerback at the bottom of the screen, while the tight end in the flat has 2 defenders taking him away as well. Every route is breaking towards the sideline, but when Purdy settles, all of the open space is in the middle of the field. He doesn't have a receiver running a route into that space, and throwing back across your body is very dangerous in this scenario. Not to mention, he's an inexperienced rookie, so he can't be trusted to make a full field progression read through his 3 options on the front side of the play to then hit the backside option. Of course, we know by now that Purdy makes these plays as if it's the most normal thing in the world, as if it's routine for a 7th-round rookie to be able to do these kind of things. The end zone angle shows us Purdy's awareness to come through the front side options and connect with Kittle in the space in the middle of the field. It's a tad overthrown, but Kittle makes it work. This isn't some sort of genius trick play from Kyle Shanahan. Kittle is only supposed to block on this play, but he feels the space and sees his quarterback is in need of help, so he makes himself available. The fact that Purdy is on the same page as him is very encouraging for the 49ers. Purdy is generally on the same page with all of his receivers. He converts this 3rd and 7 by making the same read and being on the same timing as his running back Christian McCaffrey. The Cowboys tested Purdy mentally on 3rd down. This is a really nice defensive alignment for the Cowboys because they're threatening the offense in different ways and not tipping anything obvious about their intentions before the snap. Purdy can assume the 3 down linemen are going to come after him at the snap, but he doesn't know what the 2 defenders highlighted in orange are going to do. They're both standing up, but they're on the line of scrimmage. Both might blitz, one might drop and one might come, they both might drop and someone else might come, or they both might drop and no one else will come. Kyle Shanahan helps Purdy by motioning McCaffrey out of the pocket into the right flat just before the snap. When McCaffrey moves, the standing defender to his side stays still. The other defender turns to drop back into coverage. If it was man coverage, the defender to McCaffrey's side most likely would have moved with him. Since he didn't, Purdy can now anticipate zone on a 4-man rush. McCaffrey's running an option route. He has space to his left and space to his right, left there by the other routes running downfield. If it's man coverage, he breaks outside or inside depending on the technique the defender covering him plays. But since it's zone, nobody is covering him. McCaffrey has to find space and settle down in it between zone defenders. He does this by turning his route into a curl route at its apex. The timing and placement of this throw from Purdy has to be inch perfect so that McCaffrey reaches the first down line but still has an opportunity to catch the ball cleanly. He gains 7 yards to move the chains. If the ball was thrown slightly later or slightly off target, the 49ers would have been punting. In the first quarter, the 49ers are already in field goal range and it's 3rd and 16. From the defense's point of view, you've already won here. Sit in coverage, force the underneath throw or the end zone heave and give them 3 points. But the Cowboys want to test Purdy's brain early in the game. They want to lay down a marker and get a turnover. So they show a cover 2 shell as if they're going to sit passively in coverage and take the easy win. But then at the snap they rotate their safety so that there's a robber in the middle of the field and it's man coverage across the board. Suddenly the aggressive option is there, but there's also more risk. The defense is challenging Purdy and seeking out a turnover to prevent the 3 points and give the offense nothing. Not only does Purdy see the safety rotation, he trains his eyes on his receiver running through the middle of the coverage so that the deep safety is drawn forward and inside. He's purposely creating space for Brandon Ayuk, who has been given a one-on-one matchup in the space outside as a direct result of the coverage shift. Ayuk needs time to push his route deep enough downfield for the first down. From the end zone angle, we can see the subtle shift in the direction of Purdy's shoulders and feet after he hits the top of his drop. He has successfully kept the deep safety away from the catch point to then connect with Ayuk, who has come wide open at the top of his route for the first down. The 49ers would eventually kick a field goal anyway, but this play told the Cowboys not to get reckless in the hopes of capitalizing on basic errors from the quarterback. You can't expect Purdy to light up the good defenses in the NFL and score 3+ touchdowns in every game. You need a quarterback who is adaptable and who can play to the situation so you can win. While it may not seem like it on the surface, Sunday's game was a huge positive for the young quarterback as he continues to excel, surpass every reasonable expectation that anyone could have of him.